the Cowboy President, Teddy Roosevelt. A man of grit and determination, but he also took that to the White House. And today, we're celebrating his best campfire dish ever, corned beef hash. In the 1800s, corned beef was boiled up and served for many a meal, and if there was ever any leftovers, it was chopped up the next morning and mixed with onions and potatoes. That word hash comes from the French hasher, meaning to chop, and that's exactly what this was. Chopped leftovers turned into fuel for another long day of work. You'd find corned beef hash on ranches, in boarding houses, logging camps, and army mess tents. It fed cowboys, soldiers, and railroad men. And today, I'm chopping it up with my hash knife. Now, I'm pretty sure old Teddy would have probably cooked this the same way, or had somebody cook it this way. Open fire, got them a little grate over the top, and they would have probably used beef tallow to start out with. Now, beef tallow, all it is just rendered down beef fat. I cooked a bunch of brisket last week, saved all the trimmings, melted her down there, got me some beef tallow. It is the best thing to fry French fries in, but it is great for anything else. You can even use it on your complexion. So we're gonna put us about 2 or 3 tablespoons in there. Looks like the kitchen might be a little unlevel again today. Got our beef tallow melted up, we do. 1 yellow onion diced up there a little. We ain't gonna rush this. We're gonna let them onions cook till they get browned and they get tender. If you have to add a little more beef tallow to it as it's cooking, feel free to do so, but don't walk off and leave it. Keep it stirring. Well, them onions is beginning to brown up, they are. But we're gonna need a little more tallow in here to go with this. We'll get that mixed around. While that's melting, I've took me 2 Yukon Gold potatoes. Boiled till they got soft, put them in some cool water, let them cool, slice them up in about bat-sized pieces. Now we're gonna stir this tallow around one more time. Now we're using Yukon Gold potatoes today, and this is probably the closest thing he would have had to keep it authentic to the historical records that we have. So don't just throw them in there and go to mashing them. Let's just place them in there, because we want these potatoes to crisp up, but we also want them to remain in their shape. We're not making mashed taters. Now when you got your taters in there, don't abuse them, but just give them a little mash, because we want them to get down there in that beef tallow, and we want them to crisp up. But now would be a good time too, just to season them with a little coarse ground black pepper. Teddy grew up wealthy, educated, and ambitious, but never comfortable. From a young age, he battled severe asthma and illness. Doctors told him to take it easy, but Roosevelt refused. Instead, he trained his body. At 13, Roosevelt built a home gym in his family's house and began training every day. He forced himself outdoors because he believed strength was built, not given. In 1884, tragedy struck Roosevelt's life with brutal force. His mother died, and on that very same day, his young wife died after childbirth. Roosevelt was shattered. He never spoke his wife's name publicly again, but he knew he couldn't let grief destroy him. That year, Roosevelt had already invested in a cattle ranch out west, so he left New York behind and headed for the Badlands of North Dakota. Out there, Roosevelt didn't pretend to be a cowboy, he became one. He slept in the open, rode through the blizzards, worked cattle alongside hired hands, lost livestock to brutal winters, and learned firsthand how unforgiving the land could be. Now, while them taters is over finishing up, getting that good crispy crust to them, I think we better talk about corned beef. Now, it ain't like an ear of corn and a piece of beef. Corn back then in the old terminology meant large crystals of salt which were used to pack meat with, which what? Cured and preserved before refrigeration ever come along. And then it went through a brining process where you would boil this meat in with salt, peppercorns, cloves, bay leaves, different spices to give it even more flavor. Boil it till it got tender, then it was took out, made for slice for sandwiches, made for hash like we're doing today. Usually when we're talking about corned beef, it was tougher cuts of meat, most likely brisket. Now, when you cured this out, also that's going to make it a little more tender, but when you boil it, it's even going to get more than that. Now you can see when this one come out, it sort of fell apart and we just chopped it up. So I bought this one, threw it in the crock pot with just a little beef broth, their seasoning packet, and just let it cook about 6 hours till it got good and tender. But if you want to do it the old way like we did, go back and watch the video where we did a corned beef, and it'll show you exactly how to go through the process. But when you chop this or shred it, that depends on your appearance. But we're going to get it back over there in the skillet with them taters and onions, let it crisp up, and we'll be good to go. Well, the taters is ready to go. They are, so it's time to add up our little chopped up corned beef here. Whoa, one tried to jump out. Y'all see this guy? He gonna go in first. So we're just gonna scatter this out amongst it. Now remember, everything we got in here is cooked. We're just wanting to crisp up this meat and warm it up too at the same time. So I'll set this right over here, and we're just gonna gently begin to fold this over and try to get the meat on the bottom. Ooh, look at that good color of them potatoes. So when you got everything mixed in there good and you flipped it over, take your spatula and just give it a mash. We want to get everything to where it tries to get a good crust on there. Now, as this is cooking along and we're pretty close, it's time to add a little seasoning to it. Traditionally, it would just been salt and a little pepper, but I don't want you to salt until you taste it, because remember, that corned beef had a lot of salt in it. So we're going to use a little garlic powder and a little smoked paprika. As you're cooking this along and you think that's beginning to get a little dry or something, you're drying out in there, you can add a little beef broth or you can add a little more beef tallow. We're in pretty good shape. I'm going to give it another mash, then I'm going to try to flip it here in just a second. The way this is looking, I think old Teddy would have been proud to come into camp and have a bite. When Teddy finally left the Badlands, he returned east and stepped back into public service. He took a job behind a desk as a civil service reformer, fighting corruption in the government hiring. He then became New York City's police commissioner, and he personally walked night patrols and tracked down corrupt officers. Later, he became Assistant Secretary of the Navy. When the war broke out with Spain in 1898, Roosevelt volunteered to fight, and that's when the Rough Riders were formed. They were a volunteer of cavalry unit made up of cowboys, ranch hands, miners, and working men from the American West, alongside Ivy League athletes from the East. Theodore, along with the Rough Riders, didn't just win the battle in 1898, he won the nation's attention. Newspapers across the country ran his name. That reputation carried him straight into higher office. Roosevelt was elected governor of New York. He pushed reform, challenged powerful interests, and refused to be controlled by party bosses. To sideline him, party leaders pushed Roosevelt into the national ticket as vice president, a job that was mostly ceremonial at the time. They thought it would keep him quiet. But in 1901, President William McKinley was assassinated. At just 42 years old, Theodore Roosevelt became the youngest president in American history. Cowboy grit built his tenacity. Cowboy honor guided his presidency. So we're going to top this off with some fried eggs, and believe me, I have fried a many, I have. But it also goes back to, is your skillet well seasoned before your egg tear up? That's what happens to me sometimes. I've even cooked them on Old Bertha, y'all have seen that. So we got our old Griswold out here, and it is getting hot. Now, if you ain't got no beef tallow and you're just frying eggs at home, I would say you get you some butter. because butter is your friend frying eggs. And you really need, I would say, a level spot. That is really nice if you can have one. And I'm a little out of kilter here, but we just gonna go with it. Hope everything's all right. I'm just gonna roll that taller around until I can get everything greased up here real well. When you begin to fry egg, start on medium-low heat, because a lot of times so many people think you just crank it up on high. You're gonna get that egg so crusted on the bottom that it wants to stick and don't even want to turn over. So if you're having a little trouble with your egg sticking, not turning loose because your skillet may not be seasoned well, add you about a tablespoon of water in that skillet, crack your egg, put it on there. What does it do? Steam rises. That is a pretty good looking dish, it is. I'm thinking Teddy and all the Rough Riders might want to join up in camp and have some of this. But as I let this cool here just a minute, I just want to tell you a little something that I know about Oklahoma, my home state. And in 1905, Teddy Roosevelt allowed he'd come down there to Oklahoma and go wolf hunting. Ooh, he was going with Jack Abernathy, the old famous wolf catcher he was, because he'd just bail off them horses and just catch them. Right there, he thought it was the grandest thing ever. But guess who else was hunting with him that lived down there in the area pretty close between Frederick and Cache? Quanah Parker, the great Comanche war chief. He even got invited to come over to Quanah's house and they had supper. Now, Quanah had been up there to Washington, D.C. to see the president, and they served glasses that were like short and half full. So Quanah told everybody, when we serve our wine or anything, make sure it's in a tall glass because we want to try to outdo him. They become dear friends, and I know they would have loved this hash together. I'm going to have me a little bite. But also, Roosevelt helped Oklahoma become a state by coming down here to visit in 1907. We got our statehood. I'm going to have me a bite. I have never ordered this in a restaurant. Shan said she likes it. And a friend of ours, Alana, says it is her best dish ever to order at a restaurant. So, Teddy Roosevelt, I hope you'd be pleased.
Honest thoughts.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to a restaurant and I'm going to have this, see if they did a good job as we did, because this is outstanding. I have never had it, never been a great big fan of corned beef, but when you can mix it with all this, and I'm going to have me another bite, them taters crisp up, the meat did sort of like a carnita, but whew, there it is. Oh, make me want to saddle up and ride with the Rough Riders all the way to camp. Now, if y'all want to eat like a Cowboy President with grit, this is where you need to start, this Cowboy hash right here. But it is with great pride, honor, and privilege that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept that old flag a-flying. Rest of you get on up in here. I'm going to give you a big one today. God bless you, each and every one. We love y'all. See you down the Teddy Roosevelt Breakfast Trail. Y'all worked real hard today, you did. Some of you was even tied up and still tied up because you're in timeout. So you're going to be first. Corned beef. Tucker? Woo-woo? Oh my gosh, ain't that good. Let's just go ahead and unleash the beast.